Oh no. All right, we are here with episode 6, Hot Tag Radio. All three. Wait, no, there's only two of us today. It's just me and Greg. James is out due to technical difficulties. We'll call it. Um,
Stemming over from last week, continued
yeah,
technical difficulty.
I mean, we seem to have a trademark on that and cornered the market. So James is off doing some personal stuff. But you got me and Greg today. So
Right.
we're
It's a tag
we're
team match. No
it
trios,
is
just a tag team match today.
just no, yeah, just the two belts, not the three. Okay, so a little bit to go over. Some stuff from last week we didn't get a chance to touch on before air. Things happened after we went off that kind of um, blindsided us, really. But we're at a good point. All right, so you know, this is going to be one of those things every week. We got to talk about like and subscribe. We are here for your entertainment. Interact with us. We will interact with you.
That's right.
I know Greg has put together a lot of topics and some really good stuff that we want to talk about today. So I'm going to kick that over to you.
Yeah, and this will be interesting. We'll do a little bit of back and forth. Again, it's tag team match today, so it's a little bit of back and forth. First out the gate, I want to talk about Austin Theory, man. Where is that dude? I literally I don't watch a lot of main event, but I didn't notice and did hear that he did wrestle one of the El Grande Americanos, the one that's around right now, not the one that's
The,
injured.
the only El Grande
Sure,
Americano. Yeah,
sure,
man. There's only
sure. Why
one of
not?
those guys.
That's only one. He wrestled the very upright El Grande Americano and not the
Dude,
more hunched over, stocky one.
look, I'm sick. I'm sick of the slander. The guy went to the chiropractor. Everything got straightened out.
Gotcha.
He's fine,
He's
man. I
fine now.
don't. Yeah.
So Austin Theory, I think he wrestled on main event is where he was. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with him, and to a certain extent, also going on with Grayson Waller. In a world that is devoid of tag teams, because I believe they're both technically on Raw, if I remember correctly. In a world devoid of tag teams, why are they not there? And quite frankly, in a world devoid of some single stars, why isn't Austin Theory there? And I remember him beating Cena at Mania and him sort of looking like he was getting ready for a push. There was a lot of consternation around the tag team. Were they going to break up? Was Austin Theory going to become face? And now you don't see either one of them. So I don't know what's going on with that. Any thoughts on that one from your perspective, Carl?
Yeah, actually. I mean, I know they've been trying to give that like tiny little dose of Theory and Waller on Raw or wherever they're arguing weekly, just to keep their faces on TV. It's honestly a good bit. But I'm actually kind of wondering if Theory hasn't been singled out as like he was a Vince guy, and now that TKO is there, because dude, they pushed that guy to the moon. He was in every segment there for a little while, and I mean we've seen it before, but he was in so many segments, getting so much face time on TV. They were really billing him as like the next guy,
Yeah.
and then it was like the rug was pulled out right from underneath him. So I'm wondering if it was because he was a Vince McMahon guy and TKO was just trying to make a statement.
Yeah, could be. I mean, one could argue that's the same thing that's happening with Omos right now as well, because I think Omos was a Vince guy as well. Regardless of some people have their thoughts about his abilities in the ring, but I knew
I
that's where
share
you were going.
those.
I knew that's where
Yeah,
you were going.
yeah.
But I mean, you may be onto something. It could very well be a situation where people who were Vince folks are now sort of catching the bad end of the stick, but to me, he has all the tools. He's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's got the right physique for it. And for a brand that could use even some mid card guys, I feel like there's a wasted opportunity there to have either of them on the show. I just think it's odd, but anyway,
I agree with you. I think the guy has main event caliber talent.
Yeah.
And I do think he's being wasted. And if it is to prove a point, what a
What point? Yeah.
shitty
What
way
point are
to
you
do it,
proving?
right? Right? Like the point that you're proving is that you know how to waste talent, and that's not a point
Exactly.
that you want to make, unfortunately. So,
Exactly.
um,
So
hopefully, we'll
moving
see more
on.
of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
moving on from
yeah.
that, I want to get your thoughts because I know. Look, I have no thoughts on this, and so I'm gonna get your thoughts on it because I'm done with the cat. But we can't ever seem to be done with Goldberg. Who's next? But really, who's last? I'm hopefully this is the last time we ever have to talk about Goldberg. Hopefully, this is the
Hmm.
final conversation. But he's on
It
social
won't
media
be.
mad about it. Won't be. You're right. He's
It
mad
won't
on
be.
social media about the way he went out. I mean, what do you think on that? What's the thoughts on
Uh,
that?
I think WWE gave him exactly what he deserved. Um, his career was built on things that happened very quickly, and his exit was longer than it needed to be. I don't understand what kind of flowers he was expecting when it, we've seen a ton of guys go out and not have that kind of fanfare. And like
Right.
they gave him the speech. I read someone commented on like a social media like, "Hey, like play the music at the end. Get everybody in the ring." Put the speech and have it go as long as you want it to, but like put the speech on YouTube channel, like social
Yeah.
media stuff. And that made perfect sense to me. Goldberg was acting like he should have been, put on some sort of pedestal, and like he was God's gift to wrestling. He wasn't. Like
Right.
it was an entertaining bit, man. Like, dude, I'm 1998, Carl. You go back and man, 13 years old. I think I wanted the Goldberg tattoo, and I was all in. The shtick gets old, man, and then to come out and be so ungrateful. They gave him his final match for the heavyweight championship in his hometown, and
Right.
still let him get on the mic and run the speech afterwards. What more did you want? Like
Right.
he just absolutely ungrateful. So
Well, here's an interesting thought to add to that. Right. Goldberg is acting as though he spent his career in WWE. He spent his
correct.
career in a place that got bought by WWE. And so the time that he spent in WCW when he was truly the biggest thing ever, WWE was doing its own thing and really probably didn't like him that much. And so, yes, they bought the catalog. Yes, they bought, all of his matches. But I don't know that, except for just the love of the business, I don't know that they necessarily owed him anything, especially when
They
Kurt
don't,
Angle goes out with a match to Baron Corbin. Like,
dude. Yeah, Kurt. I could understand all that fanfare. I just pulled this up, so if you saw me looking away, this is what it was. Goldberg has had 59 matches in WWE.
Are we getting ready to talk about how many matches he actually had or how many we
Oh
thought
no,
he
no,
had in WCW?
no,
Okay. I don't know where we were
no,
going
no.
with that.
Well, that's a mystery, man. You,
Right.
you could pull numbers out of the clouds for that one, and we're just not
Right.
going to go down that road. But in WWE, he has 45 wins, 10 losses, and 4 draws. So we got
Interesting.
59 matches. So for a guy that had less than 100 matches in the company,
Yeah.
expecting that level of fanfare, it just
Yeah.
doesn't work for me. And like,
Yeah.
dude, I am not like when it comes to the Bret Hart Goldberg feud, I think they're both kind of being babies. It takes a lot for me to be like, yeah, Bret's right, like 100%. And I mean, they didn't send Bret out that way, and I know Montreal screw job and all that, but like, hey, you know what? Bret carried that company for a downtime in the company,
Right.
and he was serviceable for years and years. I'm gonna guess Bret Hart's matches reach into the thousands
Oh,
with
I'm sure.
WWE.
Yeah. With
Uh,
tag
and
team matches and oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm sure.
yeah. So you're talking about a guy that didn't get that from WWE with well into the thousands, we'll just call it that, versus a guy that had less than 60 matches with WWE. Um, he just doesn't need to. I would have been grateful. I would have said, you know what, like this was the proper send off for me. I got to perform in front of my friends and family in my whole hometown. I'll tell you the most entertaining thing that I saw from that segment was him bringing Ernest Miller out. Like, loved it.
The cat.
I thought, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a cool callback. A guy that a lot of wrestling fans, including myself, probably hadn't thought about in years and years. But you're like, oh, hey, man, dude, that man in WCW was complete. So here's the problem. We started this segment about Goldberg, and now I'm talking about Ernest the Cat Miller. All right, so that's about as long as one of his matches and about as entertaining as they lasted. So well, I'm going to open the door here. We can just move on. Hopefully, be done with Goldberg for a little while. Hopefully, forever. Um, but you know, they're probably going to trot him out when he's like 80, and he's going to be like, "Who's next?" And it's like, dude, the retirement home was like 20 years ago. That's next. Go away. No one wants to see it anymore. All right. Well, we talked about someone who's well past their prime of entertaining people. Let's talk about someone who's in their like second evolution of just really being able to like entertain the people. I know that you wanted to toss out some thoughts on the best wrestler alive, Platinum Max Caster. Let's go, man.
Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. The the heel work that Max Caster's doing is phenomenal. And it is shocking to me that you can get over as much as he's gotten over with probably one of the worst chants you could ever come up with. And ironically and sarcastically, he did that for a reason. You know, as a heel, if you're going to do a chant, it's got to be something that's terrible. And doing the "Let's go, Max,
Terrible.
you're the best," that's a horrible chant. But people are starting to do it.
Yep.
Getting over by wrestling a random person who just comes out and murks you every week, and you losing in a minute and a half or 2 minutes. How does that get you over? But it's working. I I am shocked and amazed by how Max Caster has taken what quite frankly thought was going to be sort of a throwaway thing on his way to whatever was next, and has made it into probably some of the most interesting segments on Dynamite or Collision, depending on where he is. It's been phenomenal.
Well, you said something there, and we're gonna hit that over the head with a shovel. He's over. It doesn't matter what he does.
Yeah,
You know, and I think one of the things that has definitely helped Max throughout his career is he is absolutely unfazed and not scared to say anything on the mic. Like he will just say whatever, and I think you have to have that. But because he does, it doesn't matter what he does. He's going to be over, and
yeah.
he's showing that, man. Like I think you brought up a good point. You know, like when that split happened, and they kind of tried to make Bowens the face and do all that. I I don't know that Bowens ever had the like a fraction of the charisma that Max Caster does.
Right.
And I get you're trying to manipulate the story to be like, okay, this guy's the face, this guy's the heel. People are gonna like who they want to like, and people
That's how
like
that works.
Max Caster.
Yeah.
So,
Bowens is
um,
interesting because the problem with Bowens is that, well, it's not a problem. The Bowens is from my understanding a nice person in real life, and
I'm
so
sure
it
he is.
made theoretical sense for him to be the face. Um, but the realism of it is that fans generally rebel against the "come on, let's go, I'm fighting for everyone" baby faces, and that's
Hmm,
unfortunately kind of what he is.
yeah,
Whereas Max Caster is the quintessential annoying heel that over 6 months to a year eventually becomes a face because you find the shtick funny. And right
yeah,
now, where I see this going, just to be honest with you, like he's still getting beat up by a lot of mainly face wrestlers. But what's going to happen is they're going to start putting him against heel wrestlers, and the heel wrestlers are going to destroy him. But he's going to start getting into this situation because he's got a 5 minute time clock. He's going to start getting these situations where he's fighting like the best of the best, and he gets to 4 minutes and then gets pinned, or he gets to 4 minutes and 50 seconds and gets pinned. And so it's going to continue to sort of steamroll, I think, until eventually people are rooting for him to beat his own challenge. And the moment he's not going to win his first match, the moment he's fighting someone and survives 5 minutes against someone he should not survive 5 minutes against, the roof is going to come off that place. And I cannot wait for that. It's a great gimmick. It's a gimmick that should never work. It should never
No,
work. There's no reason for this to work, but Max Caster makes it work because he's that good.
I 100% agree with you. I'll tell you what it gives me very minimal like similarities to was like when they actually tried to make Barry Horowitz more than a enhancement talent in the
Yeah, he
90s,
won that match.
except this is working, right? Like
Yes. Yeah.
um like no dude, we all knew who Barry Horowitz was. No one
Yeah.
wanted to see him get pushed. I mean, like it
No,
was
no, no,
just kind
no.
of like a weird thing that they did there. But like with Max, it's working because he's got personality for days. He's got the charisma and he's got all the ability. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
probably
pulling for the
closer. You
guy.
know what it's probably closer to? It's probably closer to 1, 2, 3 Kid. In that, when that thing happens, even though I think again, Max Caster, number one, he was over before, so it's not like he's just a nobody or a journeyman. But when this happens, I guarantee you, it's gonna be the the reaction in that arena is going to be phenomenal. Again, he's not going to win his first match. He's going to survive 5 minutes with somebody that he's
Yeah.
not supposed to survive 5 minutes with.
Well, and to that point, it's an interesting take, and I can't recall a time that it's been done before. Well, the 1, 2, 3 Kid stuff, he was more or less an enhancement talent, and then
Absolutely.
just out of nowhere got a win,
At the win. Yep.
and then got the back to back win, and then
Hmm.
in this case, Max Caster was one of the most over dudes in the company,
Yep.
and then they had to turn him into an
A
enhancement
jobber.
talent, and
Yep.
it
Yep.
has worked. Like
Yep.
he might be more over now than he has ever
I would
been,
agree. I would
and
agree. This should
it's
not be working, but it's
no.
working, and it's wild.
Well,
But
that's one of those things that like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, and that one stuck. Like
stuck
that
hard.
one definitely
Yeah.
stuck. So,
Yeah.
kudos to him. Kudos for AEW for pulling that off because I
Absolutely.
you can't have any missteps there.
Yep.
Um,
It's got to be perfect.
it's got to be
All right,
perfect.
so we're talking heel face. We're
There we
talking
are.
one is a heel, one's a face,
But
and
which?
Bowens might be switching and Caster might be switching. So let's talk about the other heel face situation that might be switching. We got John Cena, we got Cody Rhodes. Couple questions for you. There's been chatter about there potentially being the double turn, the dreaded double turn,
Yeah.
where Cody goes heel, Cena goes face. First question for you. Is it possible? Can it happen? Is it going to work? Second question for you. Does this even feel like a SummerSlam main event? Like, it's interesting, they're both top level guys, but does it feel like this should be a SummerSlam main event?
Um. Well, so question one, can it work? It can. I think Cena at this stage of his career can do no wrong. So like whatever he does, people are going to follow, right? So like
Sure.
with him turning into the face, I think that's going to work successfully. I think there's more than a handful of people like myself that thinks Corny Rhodes is just shoved down our throats every week, and it doesn't like he always has to come out on top. And like, yeah, if they maintain that and he's doing heel work, it's going to be great heel work, and I'm not going to deny that. It's just that it seems like every storyline with Cody Rhodes is like 16-year-old Cody Rhodes fantasy booking himself, right? He's always got to come out on top. He's always got to look like a good guy. But the whole segment, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, dude, okay, so like there has to be something that's based in logic, and it's like you go through the contract signing. We all know how every contract signing ever ends. I thought it was a funny bit. John's like, I can't, mental health day or whatever. Yeah, I got a movie, which I thought was beautiful. Again, heel work. He's just going out there doing his best, and for Cody to jump him as the face, like the seeds are being planted. I don't know if this was ever what Cody wanted. I don't think he likes being the heel. I
But
think that
he's
was
got
part
to
of the
know
reason
it's coming.
yeah,
He
yeah.
has to know it's coming. Like that.
Well,
That is. Some people just have to know how their shtick gets perceived by fans, and either
yeah,
you lean into it or you fight against it, and you just do what Cena used to do, which is I'm going to pretend like you're not booing me.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, it gets under his skin because, that's part of the reason he left AEW. It was like I mean, people tend to forget he was getting booed out of arenas.
Don't
Like,
forget.
no, I know I don't because I was one of the people that was doing it, but um I just he comes to WWE, kind of recreated this like fantasy world where he can do no wrong as a babyface, and it's like, dude, you're Stardust. Like, we didn't forget. So, you know, the idea that like he tweeted out and that like gave way to like a lot of people doing the rumors like, oh, he's turning heel at SummerSlam. He also walked out to Roman Reigns and was like, "Oh, I'm giving this match to The Rock," and written all over his face. You knew that he didn't want to do that, and that's how he planted himself in that storyline.
Yeah,
I just
but at the end of the day, I guess the big question is this? I mean, you always
no,
talk about moving the needle. Is this a
no,
SummerSlam main event? Does it move
no.
the needle for you? It does
Well,
not move the needle for you. Okay.
so not even a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Okay, we are in the tail stages of Cena's retirement tour. We've already seen him face Cody Rhodes. I don't want Cody eating up more of his matches that he has left. John Cena, to me, main event guy. Cody Rhodes, upper mid card guy with a lot of
Oof,
hype.
oof, oof. That okay? That'll be the hottest takeover. That'll be the clip that goes on the internet. Good
Well,
lord.
I'm not wrong. I am not wrong, dude. Like,
Oof.
if he had have stayed in AEW, he would have been continued to be booed out of buildings, or he would have taken the heel turn. He comes back to WWE, and I don't know like what happened with the crowds where it's like, oh my god, Cody Rhodes is at WrestleMania. It doesn't matter. Like, he is still that dude. He's the dude that slightly got Dashing Cody Rhodes over. He's the dude that played Stardust weirder than Goldust somehow, right? Like, he to me, that's his peak. And like anything that he does that is the last match of a card on either evening is just it's a waste of the spot. Like, he is the least entertaining dude on the roster to me because it is so fake. Like,
Oh.
dude, and yes, I use the F word. Okay, like
I was
he
about to
just
say
yeah,
we go look we got to move on because you
yeah,
look. I've had my CM Punk moment.
oh
JM
yeah.
had his Damien Priest, and he's got a couple more he's throwing out there. This was your Cody Rhodes moment. Now
This
everyone
was
know. Now everyone knows how we all feel and what our
yeah,
trigger words are. So you already know what our trigger words are.
yep.
So use them carefully, use them wisely, or don't use them at all. we're gonna we're
It'd be
gonna
great
we're
if
gonna
a
jump.
company wouldn't use Cody Rhodes at all, but
Yeah,
whatever.
we're gonna jump past that
Yeah,
one.
let's move on.
Yeah,
To we'll come back another day. I'll finish my
I'm
thoughts.
sure we will.
Um, yeah, but yeah, no, it doesn't feel like a main event. It could be anything else. How about a women's championship match as the main event? And now we got to figure out what that is because uh, Naomi went out and kind of foiled all of our fantasy booking
Yeah,
for
yeah,
her. You know, I thought it could have been a little bit longer hold on the cash in.
agree.
It was definitely making her a menace. Like, she was popping out. They're stopping I thought it was great. Um, but I guess the ultimate point of a cash in is to win the
That
gold,
is correct.
and she did that just earlier than expected. But now she's on the radar for Rhea. She's on the radar for Io Sky. We thought she would have been on the radar for Jade.
Yeah,
Where where are we going with this?
yeah.
She can't. possibly lose this title at SummerSlam, right?
That I think that would be one of the worst decisions they could ever make. I love Io Sky. I love Rhea. That was a phenomenal championship match they had at
Oh,
Evolution. Probably one of the best matches I've seen all year. But you've made your bed, and I don't say it that way because that makes it sound like it's bad. Uh, Naomi cashing in is phenomenal, and I appreciate the fact that Naomi cashed in for the women's world title because that feels like the real world title on the women's side. On the men's side, it's the WWE title, but sometimes it's who's fighting for the title that makes the title. And realistically speaking, they've positioned the women's world title as the bigger of the two titles. So I
yeah.
appreciate that she cashed in there. You cannot have her lose that match. You cannot. You have to allow her to win the match because if you don't, the whole Money in the Bank, the whole cash in was for naught. And so my hope is she wins the match. You can do other matches here and there where she fights Rhea one on one, she fights Io one on one. But here's a possibility. And I, quite frankly, I don't believe WWE is going to do this because it would require some extremely patient long term booking. I mean, extremely patient long term booking for people that they have not traditionally been willing to have long term booking for. But the way that I would love to see this go, Naomi keeps the belt, Jade beats Tiffany, Bianca wins the Rumble. And now we got to figure out who she's cashing in on and I mean who she's fighting at Mania. I don't think they have the patience for that, and I don't think they feel like it would be big enough of a story to do that. Personally, that's what I would like to have happen, but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Well, to piggyback on the fantasy booking there a little bit, I think that's a very logical way to go. And I think if you have Jade as the WWE Women's Champ and then Naomi as the Women's World Champ or whatever, you're
Yeah.
gonna know the reference. Maybe they're captaining teams at War
Survivor
Games.
Series, yes, or also Survivor Series, yeah, War
Yeah,
Games. Yeah, I mean,
yes.
yeah, that's
So
also some great booking, but they
so
have to be patient and willing to do it, though. I don't know if
well,
they're gonna be.
I don't know that they can. In I'll give you the elephant in the room is that Rhea Ripley might be the most popular person on the roster, man or woman.
Probably, yeah,
She has an incredible following, and I think that the idea was to get the title on her somehow, um, because it just kind of doesn't make sense. Like, she's the Eradicator, but she's not holding one of the major
right,
titles.
yeah,
It, you know, I for the drought that she's had in holding a championship, it's like Hogan in the late '80s not having the belt. It's just
yeah.
for the time
But
that
they
he
can
didn't, it
find
just didn't make
ways.
sense.
I mean, I think the problem is they can find things to keep her busy with and make her popular, but just
Yeah,
leave her away from going for the belt because if you have her chasing the belt and not winning it, it sort of messes with her character. If you just
I
have
agree.
her fighting Raquel, or if you have her fighting Roxanne, or if you have her fighting I don't care who Nia, just put her in a feud with someone and have it be a feud because I don't like you. But if you have her always in the championship picture, and she's not winning it, then it's gonna come over some sort of way.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. Like she's one of those people that I don't think she needs the title. Like she's over as can be, and she hasn't had the title in a long time, and she's probably
Yeah,
more popular now than she was 3 years ago. So I don't think she needs it. She's one of those unique characters that don't.
right.
um we'll see.
Yeah, yep,
We'll see where it goes. I can't imagine them trying to go into WrestleMania season and Rhea not being part of the plan for the title, even if we can agree that she doesn't need to be for her to still have the popularity. Um, I think going down that path, putting a title on Naomi, putting a title on Jade, having Bianca win the Rumble, that would be fantastic. But we're talking what 9 months from now?
I know.
You know,
I don't think they're that patient to let
I
that
don't think
whole
so
thing
either.
play out. And
Uh,
one final thing on this, if I remember correctly, SummerSlam 2 nights this time around.
yeah, it's 2 nights, which
Is this?
great.
I mean, this has to main event night one, right? Kind of
I
has
would
to.
think. I would
Yeah,
think.
I think it
I
kind of
mean,
has to.
Rhea, she's not going to keep opening shows. You know,
Yeah,
I know that
I,
much. So
I think this probably has to be the main event of night one, but we'll see where it goes.
yeah, I mean, we shall. Um, all right. What else are we getting into today? Some TNA tonight.
Yeah,
Where we
tonight.
we're recording this like what 2 o'clock. It's 2:43 right now. Tonight Slammiversary, and Slammiversary is great. TNA, it's their WrestleMania, right?
Yep.
So uh, we would typically talk about this, but now there's a very particular reason that we get to bring it up, and actually two. Um, but let's start with AJ getting back into TNA for the first time in what 10 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It has been a
It's
while.
been a long time. What does this do for TNA?
Yeah, that's a good question. And before I get into that, this is going to be I think this is going to be a really good show for TNA.
Yeah,
You've got a number of different matches. I'm very curious about the ladder match for the tag belts.
yeah.
Rascals and Nemeth and Hardys and Top Dollars squad over there. I think that'll be good. The
Dollar.
Right, the Slamovich JC Jane match.
Yeah,
It's unification. It's an interesting pairing of people.
yeah. I
I'd
thought
be
that too.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked though if WWE let TNA take their belt. So I'm assuming JC Jane wins that. And then obviously we've got the triple
I
threat.
don't know, man.
You don't
I
really?
have that going the other way. I have that going the other way because of what they did with the men's title. So Trick took the TNA championship and going back and forth on both shows. I think if WWE is going to give up a title that they can go across both shows, it's the women's championship.
I agree with that sentiment. I just don't agree that they're willing to do that. I agree
Uh,
if any title. Actually, no, if any title, it would be one of those two North American titles. But um
that's true.
we'll see. We'll see. But to the AJ Styles question, what I'm interested in is what is he going to do on the show? Like, personally, I don't think they're going to have him have a match. That would be great, but I think more than likely he shows up, says
Well,
his this is the real house AJ Styles built, and I have so
yeah.
many memories here, and cuts a great promo, and then whoever TNA's new up and coming heel that they really want to push will come out and AJ will beat him up and kick him out of the ring. And I think it'll be a feel good moment. And we'll keep it. That's what I'm thinking.
I would love for him to have a match, just so he can stay fresh for when he has to face our injured Dirty Dom over there. He's got the doctor's note. It's
He
all legit.
does.
Um, AJ needs to stay away from Dom is what he needs to do. But it would be nice for him to have even somewhat of a squash match. But I think just his presence. For WWE to allow one of their guys to go on, and not just we're not talking Trick Williams, right? And Trick Williams is phenomenal. I love the guy, but we're not talking that level. We're talking future Hall of Famer level caliber that is currently on the WWE roster. Go to Slammiversary and make their
Yeah.
presence felt. I think it's great exposure for TNA. I don't think that TNA has had this many eyes on it in a very long time. And
Yeah.
I am full blown hoping that the partnership continues. Um, I I like that we're not even using the forbidden term of the forbidden door anymore. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a different thing. I mean,
yeah,
the Forbidden Door concept was really, first of all, it's sort of pandemic related, but it was also really about two units that had no sort of actual affiliation. This to me is more like, I- you know, I know most people say it's a partnership. I'll give it enough credit to call it a partnership. If Slamovich wins that belt tonight, then I'll really call it a partnership. But until WWE is really putting over some legit stuff, I'll call it sort of a big brother helping much smaller brother along. But in that
Yeah,
in that vein, though, like you clued me into, I guess maybe a TV deal potentially on the
yeah. I
horizon
mean,
for TNA. Do you
I
know what's going on with
I
that?
don't know like the too much of the details. I know it was like a $10 million deal. Which, listen, if we're talking WWE, a $10 million deal is probably not moving the needle too much. For TNA, I think a $10 million influx with the extra exposure that they're getting right now could be really big for them. So again, it goes back to the main point of why these companies are doing this every week is how many eyes are on you, right? Like, if you're getting more eyes on you, you're getting this kind of exposure, you're getting a better TV deal. You know, maybe it makes sense for them, and hopefully it does. I think TNA has been cranking out some great content for a really long time. Um, so maybe that becomes a secondary feeder system to WWE. Like, if NXT is the feeder system to the main roster, which they've got a surprisingly low rate of transition there, in, including my guy Karrion Cross, who initially when he was called up did well enough to get fired, and now they brought him back, and I mean, that guy's over, man. But maybe TNA then feeds into NXT. NXT's feeding into the main roster. I
Yeah,
think it
we
could
got
work. A
Evolve though, so how does Evolve fit into that? Like I don't want too much stuff feeding directly into WWE. I'm hopeful that TNA partnership is fine, but if TNA is going to be a thing, I want it to be a thing and not beholden to anybody in any way, shape, or form that feels like it's a feeder system. That's my concern.
well, I I think part of what we're going to see is when Joe Hendry's contract's up later this year. If if he goes WWE, then we basically know what this is all about, right?
Yeah,
And I at that point it might just be TNA giving the old tap out, like, all right, we the initial the very first iteration of TNA, they were trying to compete with WWE, and that was always a foolish notion.
sure.
They didn't have the pockets to do it. Jeff Jarrett and his dad, who I have thoughts on them as well, but we won't get into it. Um, they just they didn't they didn't have the right formula. They didn't have the right funding. Um, but now TNA has survived a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
There are some
so
TV stations that don't even exist anymore. I mean, they were
yeah,
on TV stations that barely existed, and yet and
yeah.
still they remain and have the opportunity to, again, I don't think competing with WWE should in any way, shape, or form be the goal, but being successful and being able to turn a profit. If you turn a
Well,
profit, that's what you're shooting for.
and I think that's where TNA kind of rewrote it. It goes back to, like, what do you as a company view as success,
Yeah,
right? I know AEW right now has kind of let go of that notion as well. Of like, hey, we're not trying to beat WWE. We're trying to be a viable second option, and
sure.
they're very much accomplishing that. Um, I think we get caught too much up in, like, which one is better,
Yeah,
like winning, right? Because we grew up in a time where it was like, oh, it's the Monday Night Wars, and there was
yeah.
a clear cut winner, right?
Not only that, the concept was legitimately for a hot minute that one company or both companies were trying to put the other company out of business. We
Yeah,
got to get out of that. I don't want
yeah,
any company putting another company out of business. If you want to argue about ratings and who's succeeding, you can do that. But I
yeah,
want every company to succeed wherever your place
100%.
is, wherever
Well,
your place is.
and I think it's a good idea for these companies to acknowledge, like, this is what our mission is. If our mission is to go out and be a second viable company to WWE because they've been around forever and they've got endless amount of money to combat this, um, that's fine, right? But then that's your measure of success, because if you're trying to take WWE down, you're setting yourself up for failure,
I
right?
don't think
So
they are, and I don't think any of them
no, not
are.
anymore.
But
No.
I think some of them are like, we want to be the number one company, which again, that doesn't mean you have to put the other company out of business, but you're
Well,
also not going to become the number one company. So there's really no reason for you to shoot for that. But
so
hey, I'm
the
all for your
problem with that
dreams.
though is it's subjective, right? You know, if we ask 100 wrestling fans, you're probably going to get 55 to 60 that say WWE. The rest are going to say AEW. You might get a couple of TNA sprinkles
Yeah.
in there, but like it's very subjective to what best
From
is.
a fan standpoint, but not from a financial standpoint, which is
Well,
where I think WWE is. That's what they're fighting for. They ain't
yeah, they
fighting
don't
for.
care.
We want 80% of the fans. They
No.
want 100% of the money.
Well, and that's just it. It's and I think that's where, you know, people like you and I, where we just want more content, right? AEW
Right.
puts out their own brand of content. It's great. TNA puts out their brand. It's great. NXT, WWE, they are all doing their own little thing, and their twist on it is why we tune in, right? It's like
Yeah.
bands that make the same kind of music, right? You like them for
Sure.
different reasons,
You like your different.
but you know, one the bottom line is like you get to appreciate all the good music, right? I think you get this tribalism from the wrestling community that's like, oh, AEW is the best for this reason. It doesn't have to be, man. And if you're trying to compete finances against WWE, you're probably going to fail. Like, I know the cons have very, very, very deep pockets, and I'm not questioning that. What I question is how much the cons are willing to put into AEW and not make as much back, right?
I
So
think
to
that
your
yeah,
point, turning a profit.
I think that's really what they're shooting for. But let's
Yeah.
jump to a different subject. We talked a little bit about exposure. Let's go around the internet for a little bit because there's been a lot of things going on, a lot of people getting exposure. Cardi B's been trash talking a bunch of WWE people because I guess she's hosting SummerSlam. I think she trash talked Naomi, Chelsea Green, a couple other
Bailey? I
people.
think Bailey was in
Yeah,
the
I think
mix.
Bailey said she'd be willing to step up, and she was just like, no. She just basically told her no, don't even bring. He told Triple H not even to bring her to SummerSlam. Um,
Oh,
what is this? Where do we think this is going? Obviously, Cardi B's hosting. Is she actually really going to get physical with any of the women, or is it just going to be? Is she going to have her own muscle that helps her out? Like, I don't know that Cardi B is setting up for some in ring anything, right?
I, you know, it's interesting because if you had told me 2 years ago Jelly Roll was going to start getting involved in stuff, I would have been like, that's the
We'll
most
get to that
absurd
in a
thing I've ever
second.
heard.
Yeah, we'll get to the second.
Yeah, I know. I'm skipping ahead. I'm skipping ahead, but nothing is going to surprise me with this. I just what what I don't fully understand is what this is doing to progress anything that they're trying to do on TV, right?
Eh,
Like, it,
yeah,
I mean,
nothing. Probably nothing. But here's what I do know: when I go on some of the posts that Cardi B's having with some of the women, there's a bunch of people who are like, "Who is this person? Who is this person?" And now there's a whole lot of traffic. So now a person that had no idea who Chelsea Green was is like, who is this Chelsea Green person? And now they're on her page. Who is this Bailey person? Who? So I think the women are using this as an opportunity, quite frankly, to get Cardi B's followers to sort of go, oh, okay, now I know you exist. And again, I guess to a certain extent, that's the point of the celebrity link up, right?
oh, we just said it. Get eyes on the product, right? And like, to that end, they've succeeded because I mean, you're talking about one of the biggest superstars in the world right now in
Yeah.
Cardi B. Um, the the idea that like they announced this what back in like April that
Yep. Yeah, like I want to say it might have even been before WrestleMania, but it was probably around WrestleMania time when it sort of became a thing.
so I would have liked to see a little bit more traction in a slow burn from that point on rather than like have it right before like I mean even if it is just this stuff of like the Twitter feuds, you know, keeping them up and it, I don't know.
Cardi's
You announce it.
probably a busy woman. She probably was like, "Oh wait, this is coming up on my calendar in a couple of weeks. I guess I should get into this."
Well, at that point, I'm sure she has teams that help manage her X account and
Yeah,
whatever else it
save
is.
stuff
But
for it.
I mean, maybe just start it a little sooner, and I think it gives it a little bit more bite. Having it come up a couple of weeks before SummerSlam, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing's. I don't think this is going to make or break the show.
Nah, it
Um,
won't. But
but
again, it's good social media engagement, which is what they care about. And in that vein,
yeah,
since we were talking about it, like Jelly Roll was guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live, and whether you like it, didn't like it, whether that table looked fake or not, nah. Um,
huh.
I would argue
Are you
that
suggesting
I no,
that it
I'm
was no?
suggesting nothing. But I would argue, when is Randy Orton, more importantly, when is Drew McIntyre getting on Jimmy Kimmel Live? So, regardless of anything, who or what, it got those two people on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and
Yeah.
it furthered the feud. Even if you think it was corny, which, you know,
I
yeah.
mean, I think that's a lot of people's issue with it. I know it's mine. Um, and yeah, so my only issue with it was, I mean, Jelly Roll has obviously, and it is going to be in a storyline moving into SummerSlam. And to your point, yeah, got him on Jimmy Kimmel Live. But what I guess the issue is the people in that audience that were there to see Jimmy Kimmel Live, a lot of
Yeah, they're
them
like,
did not
what is
care
this
at
mess?
all. Like, oh my God, why did he pick him up and put him through the table? Not
Right.
to mention Logan Paul, when Jelly Roll slams his hand around his neck and uh, he like puts the arm over, like, oh my God, and like doesn't try to do anything back. I think the segment just. I mentioned this earlier with the Cody stuff, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent again here, but like, there's some stuff that's starting to feel a little forced,
Yeah.
and it's just, when we saw, Bad Bunny come out and put on a great performance, it was like, damn, he's put in some work, and it kind of came out of nowhere that like he put in the work and he put it on a great performance, and that can be appreciated. This kind of seems like we're learning on the fly, and it's not a knock on anybody. I'm not, saying any of that. It just, I, when things feel forced, when in history since like the '80s have we seen a storyline play out on a late night talk show, right?
Oh, well, nope, you're missing one. Forgot
Uh,
about good Rodman and Jay Leno and that WCW
oh,
uh back,
I am
yeah.
forgetting around, but
And
point
that one
being,
probably played out about as well. In ring, Jay Leno. I mean, the crowd was hype. I'll put it that way. But Jay Leno is Jay Leno, man. Like,
well, in in that same vein, these are people that were tuning in to Jimmy Kimmel Live. It wasn't Jimmy Kimmel, right?
right,
It
right, right.
was, it's here's a guy that has some notoriety. If his music is your thing, then like that, cool. But I like celebrity one-off appearances. The idea of them like doing a long-term story, getting in the ring, it's not really my jam. Um,
Yeah, it's not mine either. But as I do, I call it the Taylor Swift effect, and that's just what I personally call it. Do I personally like Taylor Swift or her music? No, but do I understand why other people like it, and do I appreciate the fact that other people like it? Absolutely. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean that I don't understand its value, even if its value is not to me. And in that
yeah,
vein, like, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of all that, but I understand its value. Jelly Roll decided, hey, I'm going to use my platform of being able to host Jimmy Kimmel to help put over two guys that probably would never be on Jimmy Kimmel, and promote this match that I'm having and promote this company. And in that vein, more power to him. Not my thing, but more power to him. And I understand why he did it, even if it, looked some sort of way.
yeah. I mean, it definitely. Um, Yeah, it goes back to a comment I think I was telling you earlier, but maybe before we started, I can't remember. Overproduced. It's just like the pieces moving exactly where they need to and fitting exactly how they're supposed to. It's like if it just had a little more like real life to it,
Yeah.
it would
Well,
go over so much more for me. But you know,
can't be on Jimmy Kimmel if you're going to do that, because Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, it's a TV show, and so
yeah,
it's going to be a bit overproduced. But last around the internet thing, the big thing outside of the wrestling world this past week was the CEO and his HR mistress at the
Stromener, yeah.
Coldplay, right, at the Coldplay concert. But to bring it to a wrestling standpoint, I'm scrolling around X, and Finn Balor's on here just hating, just full on being petty,
Dude,
posted a picture of Dominic Mysterio as the CEO and Roxanne as the HR person. Like, why you got to get so messy, Finn? Stop being messy, man.
oh,
Let your
I
boy do what
disagree.
he needs to do.
I dude, I love a good hater. And Finn right now, man, he is getting all the awards at the haters ball.
Yeah,
Like
I'm about to
he
say, man,
is,
he's Silky Johnson over here, man.
dude, hate. He's doing his thing, and I think in terms of trying to reinvent himself as a character, Finn was he probably had one of the most difficult tasks. I mean, how do you go from Finn Balor and then the Demon to like I hate this dude. Like I'm just gonna hate
Yeah.
on him at every corner. So I love it. I love the bit. I wish he would leave Dirty Dom alone. That guy's had a hard enough life. Um,
Yeah, it's real tough, with Rhea, and then going to Liv, and then
dude,
potentially going to
yeah.
Roxanne. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
real
Well,
tough.
I mean, his dad was, complete
Deadbeat.
deadbeat.
His
He's been
dad,
in
yeah, dad.
jail, dude.
Wait,
Like,
which dad?
I,
Which dad?
uh,
Which dad was the deadbeat?
oh, well,
You talking about his real dad, or
yeah.
his actual dad?
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm just saying he was told some lies as he was growing up. It's it's fine. But no, I think it's Finn is one of those guys, and that like completely stick aside, he's gonna find a way to be entertaining, like whatever that is. He's a pro at whatever he's doing. You go back to the entrances. I think he is one of the most creative dudes in wrestling,
Yeah.
and if you give him nothing to do, he's going to find a way to make nothing entertaining.
Yeah,
And
and it's
you
going to
know,
be interesting to see, and obviously this is probably for another episode, but like, we're heading somewhere with Roxanne and Raquel, and then Roxanne and Dominic, and then you got Finn and Dominic sort of butting heads. JD McDonough's out there doing whatever JD McDonough does, but
if
like,
they
we're
butt heads
headed
with
to
him, it's over.
what? Jeez Louise, that is just mean. It's funny, but it's mean. But we know this is going somewhere, but I'm not sure where it's going. But I think that's sort of the fun of it. I mean, I think most people think
Yeah,
that obviously Dominic and Roxanne, something's going to happen there, and Liv's going to come back as the face and the whole thing. But where the actual story goes, I think is what people are curious about. So I'm very curious about that. But Finn, stop being a hater. Let
keep
your
being a
boy
hater.
do whatever he's
You live
doing.
your life. You do what you
Yeah,
want.
let that man live his life. Don't pretend like you don't know how Liv got him in the first place. So
Mm,
all
hmm I mean,
right. So
all well and good. All well and good.
yeah, time for some closing thoughts, man. I'll let you go first. What do you want to chat about closing
Uh,
thoughts?
I mean, honestly, man, we covered so much today. We didn't touch on the Wyatt Six really, because I wanted to keep tabs on that for a little bit. Um, what do you think the reaction was with them as the champions into that chaotic tag team scene that we know that SmackDown is good for? Did you feel that the crowd reacted to them the same as they did before? Um, I I do think putting titles on them has cost them a little bit of the mystique, a little bit of they should be agents of chaos. I don't think they need to be in the title picture. But to your point, with the way that the tag team division is set up on SmackDown, um, it is chaos. So maybe it's appropriate to have the agents of chaos as the champions. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's not my
I don't
call to
know
make.
either. I think the crowd wants to like them. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest sort of issue is as I said, I think it was last week, the group is supposed to be an Uncle Howdy creation,
Yeah.
and theoretically, the second most over person in the group might be Nikki Cross, but bottom line is it's an Uncle Howdy creation. And so to have Uncle Howdy literally not doing anything and
Yeah.
having not even it's just pick two, oh, we're gonna go with Gacy and Loomis, and having them sort of being the focal point, it's a little odd. I mean, in all honesty, it's kind of the same struggle that the Garzas are having, in that Santos Escobar is supposed to kind of be the star of that group, but you don't ever really see him in the ring. You see the Garzas. And so I'm never going to talk bad about tag team wrestling because I love tag team wrestling, but
I
I
do
do
too.
think
There's
it's
an
just
art to
sort
it.
of confusing. I think it's just confusing people, and I don't think
Mhm.
people know what's supposed to be happening with the Wyatt Six. And I think that's what the struggle is.
I think you're right. And we'll continue to keep an eye on this. I'm
Yeah.
sure we're gonna have a take in what 3 weeks when titles probably change hands,
Probably
just
change that.
because
Yep, somebody else will have
they're
them.
chaos.
But again, I'm
But
okay with that. If that is the way
yeah,
that the division's going to be booked, then let them switch, man. Let DIY get them, then let City get them. Like, let them switch around. Don't
well,
leave out my good friends in Pretty Deadly, but I don't know where they are.
uh, I don't know either. But with that in mind, I mean, if they do change hands constantly and that's what we get, then that's what we get. And
Yeah,
I just, if you're gonna do that, make sure that that division gets some shine on like every PLE, because
yeah,
if you bury them off of PLEs, then it means it doesn't matter.
that's right.
And you can have the belts rotate because that means everyone's vying for them,
Right.
right? But if they're not on a PLE, if it's not premium, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
Right.
That's what
Um,
I've heard.
so now I want to get to your thought because you mentioned what this might be, and I'm actually really interested in what the take is here. So what's your closing thought this week?
Closing thought. So, at All In, the Ops, which is their name,
Hmm.
uh, retain their trios titles, but Samoa Joe got taken out, and I don't remember if it's for like a movie or for something that he's doing, but he's gonna be out. I'm wondering during this time frame what happens with the trios titles, and I say that only because you know AEW is no stranger to saying, all right, the titles are there, the person's out, they're just going to hold the title until they come back. But Hook had an interesting angle where during a match where the ops were fighting, Hook came out, helped out. Theoretically, he thought he helped out the ops, but realistically speaking, he was just attacking the cat that took him out, and then he sort of left. So I'm curious whether during this time Samoa Joe is out, if Hook comes back, takes over his spot, or whether something happens. I'm just very curious where this goes. Powerhouse Hobbs is in that group and has had sort of more TV time than he would normally have. I don't want them to lose that sort of momentum. But
Hmm.
with no Samoa Joe, do you just do what you did when Hook went out and just give the belt to somebody else? Because that's how Hobbs got it, quite frankly. Or do you bring back Hook? Where does all this go? And more importantly for me, what does Hook do when he comes back? So I'm very curious. That's what I'm going to be keeping my eye on. And maybe that's what we should call, closing thoughts is, what we're keeping our eye on. And we
Yeah,
talk through things that are happening. We don't know where it's going, but
no
periodically we're
clue.
just going to check it. Yeah, we're just going to check in on it and see where it goes. But I'm curious about that because there are a lot of good trios out there in AEW. I'm really excited about I was really excited about the Guns coming back with Juice Robinson, but now I think Colton got hurt. But there are a number of trios out there that could really do some good work. I'm just curious where this one goes. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Um, Man, I wasn't sure how today was sort of going to fly with driving a three-man ship with two
Two
guys.
people.
But I honestly, for me, it went pretty smoothly. I mean, it's just talking wrestling, right? Like that's all we're doing.
Yeah, it's not that
Um,
difficult. It's not rocket science.
no, the difficult part is trying to keep it in a time frame. That's
Yeah,
definitely the difficult part.
but we
But
got that.
we managed. All right. So next week, hopefully, Jay will be back. His technical difficulties will be resolved. Yeah, it's a running bit, but
It's a running bit, folks. Just go with
yeah,
it.
yeah, just go with it.
Although I will
James,
say,
technical difficulties.
if you're on social media and you want to talk trash to Jay, cut a promo on him, and he'll cut one back. I want to
He
see him
will
cut
cut
a
one back.
promo. Yep, I want to
I
see cut a promo on him. Something that he said during one of these episodes. Something you want him to talk
oh,
about. He'll cut a
I love
promo
it.
on you.
I love that. We're definitely running with that. So on any of the socials. I think it's at Hot Tag Radio on X and Instagram. If you see our faces, that's us. Uh, but yeah, I mean, like and subscribe here on the YouTube, and we'll be back next week. Next week we are revisiting What If. So we're gonna have another What If segment. We'll talk about the Slammiversary results since those have not yet happened. Um, yeah, you got anything else on the cards for next week?
If I have time, I kind of want to talk about the state of women's wrestling, because I
Okay.
feel like this we might be at a spot with women's wrestling across the companies where it may be the best that it's ever been. So
Yeah.
I want to talk
We'll
about
dive
that.
into it, but I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, I think so
Like there's
too.
not a point in history where I could look and say it's as good as
You
this.
got, I
Like
mean,
top to
women
bottom.
across every card. Yeah, absolutely. And so maybe I'll come and talk about some of the up and comers and the underrated folks, and who we should be keeping our eyes on, outside of the people that we already know.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to next week's, and until then, if you do see us on social, give us that hot tag and cut a promo on James. I want to see who's going to be the first to do it and
That's right.
get that promo back. All right. We will see y'all and like and follow.